I never planned to become the kind of person who destroys her own family. If you had asked me 5 years ago what kind of wife and mother I was, I would have told you I was loyal, responsible, the stable one, the woman who held everything together while life got chaotic. But looking back now, I can see exactly when things started to crack. My husband Daniel and I had been married for 14 years. We met in college, got married young, and built what most people would probably call a normal life. A modest house in a quiet suburb, 2 decent cars in the driveway, a dog that shed all over the furniture, and our daughter Lily. She was 12 when everything fell apart. Daniel worked long hours as a project manager for a construction company. He left early, came home tired, and spent most evenings half asleep on the couch with the TV on. It wasn't that he was a bad husband. He just faded into routine. Every day looked the same. Dinner, small talk, bills, laundry, sleep. After more than a decade together, the excitement we once had was gone. At least that's what I told myself. Looking back, I realize now that comfort isn't the same thing as unhappiness. But at the time, I convinced myself that I was missing something. Something bigger. Something exciting. Something that made me feel alive again. That's when I met Ryan. He worked at the marketing firm where I had recently started a new job. He was confident, charming, and the kind of man who always seemed to know exactly what to say. He complimented me constantly. At first, it was harmless. "You have a great sense of humor. You're way more interesting than most people here. You don't seem like the type who should be stuck in a boring suburban life." Those words stuck with me, especially the last one, because part of me believed it. I started staying late at work more often. Sometimes it was real work. Sometimes it was just sitting in Ryan's office talking about life, about relationships, about how people sometimes married too young and woke up one day wondering what they missed. He never said I should cheat. He never said I should leave my husband. But he didn't have to. The idea grew slowly in my head until it started to feel inevitable. The first time we crossed the line was after a company happy hour. Most people had already left, and we stayed behind finishing drinks and laughing about office drama. One thing led to another. A lingering look. A hand brushing mine. And suddenly we were kissing in the parking lot like teenagers who didn't know any better. I remember the exact moment when I should have stopped. I remember the voice in my head saying, "You're married. You have a daughter. Go home." But I ignored it. And that decision changed everything. The affair lasted almost 6 months. 6 months of secret texts, stolen lunches, and lies I told without hesitation. I told Daniel I had extra projects at work. I told him I had client meetings. I told him traffic was bad. The worst part is how normal it all felt after a while. Cheating became part of my routine, and somehow my life kept moving like nothing was wrong. Except for one person. Lily. At first, I didn't think she noticed anything. She was 12. Most kids that age are wrapped up in school and friends and social media. But kids are more observant than adults give them credit for. She started asking questions. "Why are you home late so much? Why are you always texting someone? Why does Dad eat dinner alone sometimes?" I brushed her off every time. I told myself she was just being curious. But the truth was much worse. She knew. I didn't realize it then, but Lily had seen one of Ryan's messages pop up on my phone while I was in the kitchen. It was a message that no coworker should ever send. And from that moment on, she started paying attention. She watched everything. The late nights. The phone calls I took outside. The way I smiled at my phone when I thought no one was looking. Kids might not understand relationships fully, but they know when something feels wrong. And to Lily, something felt very wrong. I didn't find out how much she knew until the night everything exploded. It was a Sunday evening. We were having dinner with my parents and Daniel's sister, Megan. It was one of those typical family dinners where everyone crowded around the table, passing dishes and talking over each other. Lily sat quietly most of the night. That should have been my first warning. Usually she was chatty and energetic, but that evening she barely said a word. Daniel noticed too. "Everything okay, kiddo?" he asked. She nodded, but she looked tense, like she was building up the courage to say something. Dinner continued normally for a while. My mom talked about gardening. Megan complained about her job. Daniel joked about a coworker who messed up a project. Then everything changed. I had just picked up my phone to glance at a message from Ryan when Lily suddenly pushed her chair back. The sound echoed through the dining room. Everyone turned to look at her. Her face was red and her hands were shaking. And then she said the sentence that destroyed my life. "Mom, are you still seeing that guy from work?" The room went silent, the kind of silence that makes your ears ring. My heart dropped straight into my stomach. I tried to laugh it off. "What are you talking about?" But Lily didn't sit down. She didn't look confused. She looked angry. "No," she said, her voice trembling. "The guy you text all the time. The one you kiss in the parking lot." My mother gasped. Megan froze. And Daniel slowly turned his head toward me. I could feel every pair of eyes in the room burning into my face. "Lily," I said quickly, trying to control the situation. "You're misunderstanding something." But she shook her head. "I saw it," she said. Her voice cracked. "I saw you kissing him when Dad thought you were working late." I'll never forget the expression on Daniel's face. Not anger, not shouting, just pure devastation. The kind of pain that happens when your entire world collapses in 1 second. "Is that true?" he asked quietly. I couldn't answer, because the truth was written all over my face, and he knew it. The dinner ended immediately. My parents left. Megan grabbed her coat without saying a word. Lily ran upstairs crying, and Daniel just stood in the kitchen staring at me. "How long?" he asked. I tried to explain. I tried to say it was complicated, but he didn't want explanations. He just wanted the truth. 6 months, I admitted. The look on his face hardened. Then he said something that still haunts me. "I trusted you." He didn't yell. He didn't throw anything. He just walked upstairs, packed a bag, and left the house. That was the last night we lived together. The divorce process started 2 months later. Daniel didn't try to reconcile. He didn't argue. He just quietly moved forward with ending our marriage. But the hardest part wasn't losing my husband. It was losing my daughter's trust. Lily blamed herself for what happened. She thought exposing the affair caused the divorce. No matter how many times Daniel told her it wasn't her fault, she still struggled with guilt. And our relationship never fully recovered. She moved in with Daniel full-time. She only visited me occasionally, and every visit felt awkward, like we were strangers pretending to be family. Meanwhile, Daniel's life slowly started getting better. About a year after the divorce, he met someone new. Her name was Sarah. She was kind, patient, supportive. Everything I hadn't been. When Lily told me about her, I expected jealousy. But what I felt instead was something worse. Regret. Because Daniel looked happy again. The kind of happy I hadn't seen in years. They got married 2 years later. Lily was a bridesmaid. I saw the photos online. Daniel smiling, Lily laughing, Sarah standing beside them like she had always belonged there. And I realized something painful. My affair didn't just destroy my marriage. It pushed Daniel toward a better life. He found someone who appreciated him. Someone who didn't take his loyalty for granted. Meanwhile, I was still stuck living with the consequences of one selfish decision. And the person who forced the truth into the open was my own daughter. At the time, I thought she had ruined everything. But now I understand something I didn't see before. She didn't destroy my marriage. I did. She just refused to let the lies continue.